Hi everybody. Today's lesson is going to be on geometry. And actually learning about the fundamental building blocks of geometry that everything we're going to be doing all year is based upon. Because almost everything in geometry is based on one of these 5 words on the left side. Point, line, segment, ray, and endpoints. And so we're going to talk about what each one of these objects are, what they look like, how to name them, and other information you need to know about these basic building blocks. First is a point. A point is going to look like this here on the top right. It's going to look like a dot. Just to be clear, it's not actually a circle. It's not actually a filled in dot. Let me see if I can make that look nicer here. It's a little hard without a stylus. But that point right there is trying to indicate a location or a place in space. Wherever something is, that's where it's located. If you can envision right now your big toe on your right foot, and whether it's touching the ground or your bedding or your sock or a shoe or something, that place right where it's touching, right where it's located, that's a point. How do you name it? You name it with a single capital letter. And so, for example, if I, on my diagram, put a single capital letter next to it, that thing over there is just point A. Or anytime you see a single capital letter in this course by itself, it's just going to be a point. So you don't even need the word point before it. You can just write a single capital letter and that's it. Versus a line. A line is not 1 point or 2 points or 3 points or 4 points or 5 points or 6 points, like sort of here on the right side. Instead, as I erase those all, a line is all of them, all the different points that you could connect that are straight and they go on forever. So straight, and the word I'm going to use for forever is infinite. Excuse my handwriting here. I will try to fix that. All right, so not just 1 point, not just 2 points, but all the points as straight as possible. And it's infinite, so I need to make sure I draw an arrow at the end, making sure you realize it goes off the screen, sort of upwards to the right forever and ever and ever until it goes to outer space. And it's going to slant downwards here to the left off your screen, sort of down as it eventually gets into the earth, and all the way through the earth to the other side into space forever and ever and ever. Lines are infinite. They go on and on forever. Oftentimes we don't care about them too much when they leave our field of view, but just to be clear, lines do keep going. The way you name the line is with 2 capital letters and, sorry, I'm having trouble writing here, and the symbol, or 1 cursive lowercase letter. Wow. Sorry about my handwriting. I'm going to try to do better. It is really hard right now. My screen is not working the right way, but I'll keep trying and plugging away. Anyways, let's put 1 capital letter on one point of the line, 1 capital letter on the other point of the line. This is line BC, or it's line CB. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Or we can put a cursive letter next to it. So if I just put a cursive letter L right there, I'm allowed to call this line L without a problem. All 3 of those names, the 2 of them in red and the 1 of them in green, equally good to label this blue line, but not just labeling 1 point, but all the possible points. All right, the segment is all points that are straight. Wow, bad spelling. Excuse me. All points straight between 2 points. So unlike a line that goes on and on forever, a segment, we'll just stop. And we'll name it the same idea with 2 letters and a symbol above it. And again, the order of the letters doesn't matter. Lastly, array. All points. Straight. And then not fully infinite like a line, but infinite in one direction. So starting at a point like here, F, starting from there and continuing on forever through point G, and then an arrow. So going sort of downwards to the left forever and ever and ever. We would label that FG with a single arrow symbol, but careful, not GF. No. It has to be the first point where there's no arrows, sort of slope down, starting with no arrows with the symbol with no arrows on that letter. That's just a point. And then whatever letter the arrow is going through on the other side as you're tracing would have the arrow part there. And the endpoints are just the 1 or 2 points where a segment, wow, that word where is not what it needs to be. Excuse my handwriting, I'll try again. Where a segment does not, sorry, not just a segment, excuse me, a segment or array does not continue. Because with segments or arrays, they end, versus with lines, they go on and on forever in both directions no matter what. Keep this sheet handy. Keep this part of the video up on the screen. There will be a copy of these notes on your Google Classroom, hopefully during the period, but if not, you might have to keep this up a little bit later. So, continuing on here with some extra examples. And so for these ones here, Edpuzzle is going to help you guys out with having you guys just double check to see if you know them while you do them. And if not, all I care about is participation here. So is the name of the line, and excuse me, my notes are wrong. So right away I need to edit my notes. This should have arrows. It should be arrow AB, arrow BA. My notes are wrong. It should be segment. And these ones are fine. All right. Actually, there's a reason why I'm going to erase those and put those as red bars instead of blue bars. Going back now to problem 1A. Problem 1A. Is the name of this line AB, BA, both, or neither? And you'll see here in a moment. But you're going to answer yourself, so as it paused, is it just AB, 2 arrows, just BA, 2 arrows, both, or neither? And the answer is, it is both. It doesn't matter whether you start and go left to right on the blue line or go right to left on the blue line, either ray is fine. This segment here, AD. But is AD one of the names? Or is it just DA? Or are both names equally good? Or neither? So once again, pausing and answering. And of course, again, the answer is both. It doesn't matter. No big deal. Great. Easy enough. Next, ray. Is this ray here in green? BC? Or is it CB? Or is it both? Or is it neither? And so once again, pausing here for you guys to answer. And the answer is again, oh wait, nope, it's not both. It's just BC. Because if you look at point B, there is no arrow there, and we're not referring to it going there. We're having it start at B and continue on through C and then on forever. So that's the only way to name it. So Rays, you're gonna have to be careful. All right, coming over to the right-hand side, line H. That H ideally would be cursive. So if this was a really well-written thing by me and what's perfect, you'd see it cursive. Instead, this is a picture actually from our textbook, and our textbook tries to do cursive sometimes, but sometimes because of the font the publisher used, it looks more like italics. Either way, cursive H, italics H means the same thing. That's that blue line. What's another name for it? Again, I'll pause. And there's two correct answers. The most common one people give would be PY, the 2 points on that blue line, but it's equally good to be YP. All right, next, take a look at line G. Line G goes on and on and on forever here. What's two different segments? Not two different names for the same segment, no. What's two different segments you see on this red line that goes on forever? So again, I'll pause. And the answer is, on the left side, you see XY, or it would have been just as good to say YX. And on the right side, you see YZ. It would have been just as good to say ZY. You could have also, not that I'm going to write this down, you could have also chosen segment XZ or ZX, but you could not have chosen capital N, that's not on the red line. You couldn't have chosen P, that's not on the red line. You couldn't have chosen that capital M, that's over in the corner, not on the red line. Just to be clear what we're talking about here, XY or YX is this little portion, and YZ or ZY is this little portion. A portion on the left of the whole line, a portion on the right of the whole line. Those are the two different segments we see. All right, you've hopefully completed your Edpuzzle with a handful of problems. Now you're going to move on to IXL level B.1. This one here, you do need to get all the way to a score of 100. Most of the times I stop my IXLs earlier, usually around a 90, sometimes even earlier than that. But this IXL is easy enough, and the amount of practice you need afterwards, after you've scored a 90 to go to 100, is not too hard. So this IXL B.1, you're going to go to 100. Thanks for doing the Edpuzzle and watching the video. Hopefully the IXL goes smooth also. Please ask your substitute if you have any questions. Take care, everyone.